Hello, this is Brian Scuttle with Sonic Cinema. This morning I revisited Empire Strikes Back in my road to getting ready for the Rise of Skywalker, and this movie is very much like A New Hope for me. It's very comforting. It's very relaxing in terms of it's a pretty easy sit. It's something that I've watched so many times over the years. I just really know very well, and it's easy to watch and it's easy to appreciate. This is easily probably the best of the Star Wars movies. It's got the stronger story, it's got the stronger character arcs, it's got better special effects than A New Hope. But one thing I do really like about New Hope over Empire, I do like the corniness of it. I do like the cheesiness of it. There's something kind of affectionate about that I really enjoy, that plays into the serials. This is something that is darker, plays more into sort of what Hollywood blockbusters have become over the years in terms of how dark they've become. It sort of leads into what some filmmakers would follow into. Empire it's got easily my favorite soundtrack of the series. Empire Strikes Back is the best score I think John Williams has written for the Star Wars saga. You get the introduction of Yoda's theme, you get the introduction of the Imperial March, which plays heavily here. The rescuing Luke and then hyperspace at the end is easily my favorite Star Wars cue of all time. Followed by Yoda explaining the Force to Luke, as well as the Battle of Hoth, which is my favorite set piece in all of Star Wars. I've always been a fan of Hoth, and this is one of the movies where my appreciation for movies that have snowy settings, this ties into that a lot. I love the snowy setting of Hoth and the beginning of the movie, the way it sets up the emotional stakes for Luke as he takes this next step on his journey towards being a Jedi, and it's something that I really appreciate about the movie. I think this has some of the best acting in the Star Wars saga. I think Harrison Ford is really good here. I do think he's better later on. I'll explain that later when I get to that particular chapter of the Skywalker saga. I think this is probably the best Carrie Fisher was in the franchise. I think Leia got the most depth of any of the characters in this one. I think Luke has a really interesting arc. He's the hero arc, and this definitely sets up a lot of things that we would see in him later in the franchise, not just in the original trilogy, but in the sequel trilogy as well, which I'll explain a bit later when I get to those movies. And it's got the great Billy D. Williams as Lando. Bespin is a really strong set piece, and it's a really great setting for the climax of this movie. This has always been the best, I think, of the special editions. It's the one that had the least changes. It's the one that didn't really have much that Lucas changed, and I think that's for the best. He adds some depth to Cloud City, a little bit more in the Wampa scene at the beginning, but otherwise it's very much in him just letting the movie play as it has always played. And I think that works in the film's advantage. I think it always has when it comes to the special editions. There's not really much, sort of like with A New Hope, there's not really much more for me to say about Empire. I've already hit the biggest parts. The AT-ATs are awesome. I've always loved the AT-ATs. And Battle of Hoth has always been a favorite. I've mentioned that John Williams' score here is my favorite of the entire franchise. And that's it for me. I'll be back with another video for Return of the Jedi, and then later Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, as we get ready to lead into The Rise of Skywalker. Thank you very much.